I'm busy filling this bowl with a pork chipotle stew. Man, that's good. I'm going to show you how to make it. So, first of all, here's Barkley. Yeah, he wants to be involved. So, on the board today, we've got pork. Now, you can use just about any kind of pork you want. I like pork loin, and I happened to run by the store, and it was on sale. So, these are just boneless pork ribs, which really aren't ribs. If you didn't know that, it's just loin that's sliced from the ends. So, I've got about 3 pounds of pork. I've got some russet potatoes I'm going to peel and cut up. I've got an onion. I've got a yellow bell pepper. You can use any bell pepper you want. I've got some green beans. I use fresh ones. You can use canned if you prefer. I've got some whole baby Bella mushrooms. I'm not going to use all of these, but we'll cut some of those up. Got a couple of cans of peeled tomatoes. If you'd rather steam and peel your own tomatoes, be my guest. But man, what a way to waste time. I've got parsley and oregano, chili powder and sage. I've got a can of green chilies, fire roasted. I like the fire roasted stuff because it adds a little more flavor to this. Speaking of which, I've also got a can of fire roasted corn. Then I've got garlic butter, my chef's chamois from Sam's Club. I've got some minced garlic. Feel free to use fresh garlic. Works just fine. Salt and pepper and garlic the fast way with Kinder's The Blend. Some carrots. We're not going to use all these, but I just took them out of the fridge. And last but not least, along with water, of course, is Better Than Bouillon Smoky Chipotle. This is going to give you that base of flavor that we're going to build everything on. So let's get started. With all my prep work done, everything cut up, potatoes in chunks, pork in chunks, diced onion, my green beans cleaned and cut into segments, carrots cut up, about a half a dozen sliced mushrooms, and my onions minced. We're ready to get started. So what we want to do is just heat up this stock pot at about medium high and put some garlic butter in the bottom. I'm going to melt that butter down a little bit and go ahead and add our onions right on into it. And we're going to saute these to clarify them along with the peppers. After the onions and peppers have had a chance to cook down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add some garlic. That's about a tablespoon, which is about 3 or 4 cloves. And we're going to mix that together as well. Let that saute in. It's going to start to get a little mushy in here, which is what I want. And I'm going to put my mushrooms in when it gets mushy. It's an easy way to remember. As the mushrooms start to cook down a little bit, we're going to start to add some seasoning. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon of sage and about a teaspoon of oregano and about a teaspoon of chili powder, or a couple of teaspoons actually, and a couple of teaspoons of parsley, and also some salt and pepper and garlic to taste. And we're going to stir that together. Those mushrooms are going to get soft real fast, which is a good thing. And you're going to start to release a lot of aroma from all that stuff we just added in here. At this point, we're going to go ahead and add the meat. Stir that meat in. Make everything move together. And all we're going to do is start to just add a little color to the pork, and that'll happen pretty fast. You don't want to cook it thoroughly. We're just adding some color, and we're still on medium to high heat here because we're getting this all worked together before we start stewing. I'm going to go ahead and put the carrots in because they take a while to cook. And I'm also going to add my can of green chilies. And like with everything else, stir it all together. You're still going to have some moisture in here. The moisture is coming off of the pork and the onions, but it's going to start to get a little dry. And once this dries out, then we're at the point where we're going to start the stewing process. Okay, now this is my Chipotle Better Than Bouillon. It's a heaping tablespoon with 2 cups of water mixed together. I'm going to dump that in there, and then I'm going to clean this with about another cup of water. And just finish that in there as well. Stir that together. You're going to start to see that kind of yellow color building. That's what we want. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add potatoes. And add a can of corn. And we're going to stir that together very easily. We don't want stuff flying all over the kitchen. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 can of the tomatoes and crush them up. And then add the beans, and we'll add enough liquid for this to stew. Turn the heat down and let it cook. Now the second can of tomatoes is in case you decide that it just needs a little more depth. You don't necessarily have to use them. I probably won't. Sometimes I do, depending on, number one, how much pork I have and how big the pot is. But with these tomatoes, I'm just breaking them open to let the liquid out of them. And then we can cut them up later if we decide they need to be cut up some more. I'm just going to kind of move this around a little bit so nothing's stuck to the bottom. That's about the color I want, so there's really no need for another can of tomatoes. We're going to put the beans on top. I'll take my tomato can, mainly because I want the remaining tomato juice that's in the can. I'm going to fill it about 3/4 full and just add that water there. And now I'm going to turn my heat down to medium-low, put the lid on, and let it do its thing. So after an hour and a half of cooking on medium-low, I've taken the top off and I'm letting it finish. I'm just going to let it sit here for about another hour on low heat. The potatoes are cooked, the carrots are cooked, the meat is pretty much done. Now it just needs to thicken up a little bit for about the next hour. Your finished product is going to look something like this. It's going to have thickened up quite a bit because the potatoes, as they break down, will actually produce the starch that thickens the stew. I mean, this smells amazing. I'm ready to eat. Hope you are too. If there's something you'd like me to cook, a recipe you'd like me to try, all you got to do is let me know. Bill@KansasFlamingoChef.com. Until next time, eat fabulous.